Welcome back, everyone, to another OKest Weekly Recap where we cover all things handheld PC gaming. All news or no news, we'll cover every brand. And don't forget, if you enjoy this video, do the OKest thing and boop that like button. And if you're enjoying the channel, subscribe below. Alright, let's jump into it. Let's kick things off with our quick news. So for the Lenovo Legion Go handheld, I don't have any updates today. There wasn't anything to include this week. But I'll keep watching this one and I'll update a community post if I come across any news, and I'll also include it in this weekly next time. Next up, we have the TJD T101, and we have a couple of brief updates. We now know that the Indiegogo campaign will go live on August 29th. I'll drop a link for this one down below in the video description, and if you're interested, check it out. We also just heard that apparently reviews should be coming soon, as they've sent out some units for review. And no, I'm not one of the testers, but my guess is that ETA Prime is probably going to be one of the initial ones. The reason I'm guessing this is he just put out a video giving us a brief breakdown of the device, bit of an intro, so I'm guessing he's setting the stage for a review that will be coming up, but of course I'm just speculating. So we're not sure when these reviews will go up or who's going to be doing them, but I will let you know when I hear about that, and I'll post it on a community update. And one last bit of update for the TJD is that we have an image now where someone is holding the device, and you can kind of get a rough sense of scale of what the device will actually look like. And taking a look at the photo, you can see that this screen it's pretty large. It looks like a large device. But that's all I've got for TJD right now. I'm sure we're going to get some more information probably this coming week. And our last bit of quick news is more information on the PlayStation Q, or what we now know as the PlayStation Portal. As previously reported, the device is a remote play device for your PlayStation 5, which is essentially a controller with a screen attached to it. We've now learned that Sony is going to be pricing the device at $200 USD, and it's planned to release sometime later this year. One bit of controversy around the device is Sony's decision to go with the PlayStation Link for its external audio connections. What PlayStation Link is essentially a low latency, lossless audio solution that's supposed to give you a more accurate and immersive audio experience. Well, this sounds great, so what's the controversy? Well, it seems that this only works for the PlayStation branded earbuds or headphones, that's the Pulse Elite and the Pulse Explorer. Bluetooth headphones will not sync up with this device, so you're going to have a choice of either the 3.5mm headphone connection, or you can spend another $149 for the Pulse Elite headphones, or $199 for the Pulse Explorer earbuds. This decision has not sat well with many people due to being limited to only using those two PlayStation branded headphones, rather than simply letting you pair your headphones that you probably already own. The device is also exclusively used for remote play at this time, and it's not like the usual streaming handhelds that we have now, like the Absolute and the Logitech G Cloud, or any solutions that you can use on pretty much any of the other handhelds that we cover on this channel. So that's the PlayStation Portal. I can see a use case for maybe parents wanting to free up the TV, or possibly those that are wanting to move around to different rooms in their home. But for a similar price, you can probably pick up an alternative that can do the same remote play as well as multiple other streaming options. So is this something that you would consider buying, or is this product a miss? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and we'll carry on the conversation there. And one last bonus update, as many of you know, I routinely update my YouTube community posts with news updates or maybe some information on videos that are coming up. I have also now set up posts on a few other socials that you can find me on. So you can find me on Instagram, you can find my Facebook page, I'm also on Twitter, or I guess what's now called X, or of course you can find me on my Discord server, something that I've talked about previously. My primary reason for setting these up is just to make the news updates that I have a little bit more accessible, so check it out if you're interested. You can join me on any of these different platforms, follow, whatever you'd like. And that's all I've got for the quick news, so let's move on over to the ROG Ally. For the Ally this week, it was a little bit slower, but there is a couple things to cover today. So the first one is the 7840U drivers that came out on August 21st. Well, they've been tested on the Ally and it seems that they're working. So we'll go over that today, and we also got a software update for the MCU. So let's start off with the drivers. As many of you know, the Z1 Extreme is pretty much a 7840U with some modifications. There's been some changes to the voltages, as well as the AI cores are turned off. So it was a little bit of a guess to see if the drivers would actually work, but I tested them myself and they do in fact work. So the drivers work, but what's the point of installing them? Well, I tested it out and I wanted to test the performance versus the Ally drivers to see if there was any benefit to actually using these new drivers. So in my video, I tested out Cyberpunk, God of War, as well as 3D Mark Time Spy. And for Cyberpunk and for 3D Mark, the benchmarks were pretty well the same. They were very close. The only difference was actually the minimum frame rate was a little bit more stable on the 7840U. So what that actually looks like when you're playing is the game will just run a little bit more stable. You're not going to have so many highs and lows, where if you have too many highs or too many lows, it can mess with the frame time and it's a little bit jarring, I guess. You know, when you see a game that's stuttering or kind of hitching, that's usually what's happening. Of course, with the Ally's VRR, it does help mask some of that. Having that screen does help to make it so you don't really notice these things as much. They're a little bit more smooth. But of course, just having more stable performance is always a good thing, so it's definitely not going to hurt. I did notice a little bit of improvement on God of War. There was maybe a 2 to 3 frame advantage, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it was there and it was noticeable throughout the whole test. So honestly, I think this is going to vary per game, but overall what I'm seeing is that the 7840U drivers seem to work well and they're just a little bit more stable. So check out my video on this if you'd like. I'll leave it down below and I'll also leave it on the end screen. It's about 4 minutes or less, so it's just a bite-sized, quick test to kind of see how it works. If you're looking for more information after you watch that, there's also another video from Windeck Tech where he went through, I think, like 400 benches to come up with the averages that he has. So check that one out as well. I'll also link that one below. And from that, hopefully you can decide whether this is something that you want to do or not. I'm not going to tell you whether you should do it or not do it, but just know that there is some steps involved. And when you're reverting back, sometimes things will break. I did find that my GPU frequency and my TDP weren't showing up on the performance overlay. So nothing major, but I did notice that that stopped working. I ended up doing a system restore because I'm prepping it for another video, but keep in mind that that's something that may happen for you. The other bit of news that I have for the Ally is there was an update to the MCU to version 3.12, and all that changed was it fixed an issue where the trigger wasn't operating at full range, so that should be fixed with this update, and I would recommend grabbing that when you get a chance. Aside from that, it was a pretty quiet week for the Ally, so that's really all I've got for you. So let's move on to the Steam Deck. For Steam Deck this week, there's only a couple updates to go over. The first one is for the DeckHD screen. I'll give you some more information for that. And then we're also going to go over the updates to SteamOS. Our first update is going to be for the DeckHD screen, so that had a pre-sale on August 21st and it sold out in 5 minutes. I was actually looking to get that, but I didn't get the notification in time and I missed out on that opportunity, unfortunately. They only had limited quantity for the pre-sale, I think it was like 100 units or less, but they are going to be opening to their regular sales on August 29th. So if this is something that you're interested in, definitely stay tuned for that. I'm not sure what their stock is like, but I would recommend jumping on it pretty quick because it seems like it's pretty popular. For those that aren't familiar with DeckHD, it's a replacement screen for your Steam Deck and it comes in at 1200p, so it's a higher resolution than the 800p that comes with the Steam Deck, and it's also a little bit more vibrant. So if you're curious about this, I'll drop a video below for Taki Udon's review of it, so definitely check it out if you're on the fence on this one. If you're looking to get the DeckHD, I do recommend following it closely. If the pre-sale is any indication, it's very likely going to sell out fairly quickly. So check out their website and sign up for email updates so that you can get it as soon as possible and hopefully you'll get it in time. My email update did come after it was already sold out. So let's move on to the SteamOS updates. We had 2 updates, one on the 23rd and one on the 24th, and both of these were to the beta client. The update for the 23rd, I'm not going to really go over. I'll leave a link in the description so you can take a look at the changelog, but really the 23rd was just bug fixes. And then moving on to the 24th, we also had some bug fixes for remote play, specifically fixing crashes that were happening when launching a game through Steam Link UI, and they also added support for HEVC video encoding when streaming to macOS. And that's pretty much it for SteamOS updates, as well as my Steam updates, so let's move on over to AOKZOE. I have a few things to cover for AOKZOE this week. The first one is the AMD drivers that came out on August 21st. AOKZOE is currently recommending that you don't upgrade if you have an A1 Pro. In the Discord server, the AOKZOE rep has mentioned that they're still testing out the new drivers to see what the compatibility is, and it seems that some people have been having some issues. So right now it's recommended that you hold off on this update until we hear more from AOKZOE. Another update for the A1 Pro is there's recently been a BIOS update that with a tool you can unlock the VRAM and you could set it to whatever you'd like. So this is something that a lot of people in the community have been discussing and testing out. I don't have a full handle on what's exactly going on with the VRAM allocation for the A1 Pro because I don't have one, so I haven't really had a chance to play around with anything like that. But it's definitely something that people have been experimenting with. It seems that people have been setting their VRAM to 10 gigabytes. Taking a look at some of the Discord comments, it seems that some people have been getting increased performance according to what they've tested, so I haven't really seen any comparisons or any of that. Again, I haven't really looked super in-depth into this, so I can't really speak to it, but take it for what it's worth. These days, a lot of games dynamically adjust the VRAM, but there are scenarios for sure that it does bring more stability, so if you have an A1 Pro and you're looking to do this, maybe check out the Discord server and talk to some of the members there. Just be cautious that if there's any BIOS updates or any kind of tools that are tweaking the BIOS, there is a chance that you may break your device, so keep that in mind when you do this. And one last bit of news for AOKZOE is we got to look at a prototype of the A2, so it is real. This isn't a phantom console that doesn't exist. Taking a look at it, you can certainly see the connection between it and the OneXFly. They look very similar, except it looks like a OneXFly mixed with a AYANEO 2 with the glass front. I'm still waiting for this one to go live on Indiegogo. The latest word is that it's probably going to come sometime in September. And that's all I've got for AOKZOE, so let's move on to OneXPlayer. For OneXPlayer this week, there's a couple things to go over. The first one is that the OneXFly campaign is still live, so if you were looking to get it at the Indiegogo prices, now is a good time. That starts at $739 USD for the base model, and you can get models all the way up to 4 terabytes of storage and 64 gigabytes of RAM. So I do recommend checking out the Indiegogo page just to see if this is something that's for you. It's definitely a cool looking device. And another bit of news is that I've actually received a beta test unit for this device. So I'll be doing some testing, comparing it with the Ally. I've already done some initial tests, and so far it's looking pretty good. The time spy score at 30 watts is beating my Ally right now, and the few benches that I've managed to run in Cyberpunk seem to show that the OneXFly is slightly outperforming, except when I made a few tweaks to the Ally, which brought them pretty much neck and neck. So if you have any interest in this device or have questions or are curious about it, stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to be testing it, putting out some videos, and don't hesitate to ask me some questions. I don't mind testing it. I'm going to be doing a bunch of testing for my videos anyway, so let me know what you'd like to see tested, and if I get a chance to, I'll definitely take a look at it. You can chat with me in my Discord server, or of course you can always leave a comment on this video and I'll do my best to get back to you. I won't go super in depth because it's a little bit outside the scope of this video, and I am planning to do a first impressions review very shortly, but my first impressions is I really like the device. It's definitely a step forward for OneXPlayer. It just feels a little bit more premium than the previous products. For example, the predecessor to this device, which would be the OneXPlayer Mini Pro, although it was a nice device, compared to this one, the triggers, the bumpers, they just feel a lot more premium, a lot smoother. I don't know how to really describe it. More tension, I guess? Like they feel more satisfying to press. I don't really know how to explain it. And the texture on the back is nice. It reminds me of an Xbox Elite control, kind of like a soft touch, grippy feel, but not quite. It's a little bit different. And OneXPlayer was kind enough to print out my name for the LED strip, so that was kind of a nice touch. I do like that you can customize it. I've already taken that apart to see what it looks like, and making your own custom tags is going to be super easy. But like I said, I'll be putting out more information in some videos as I am able to make them. So if you have any interest in this device, definitely stay tuned to the channel. I'll also be doing some comparisons with the ROG Ally, so if that's something you're interested in seeing, it should be coming very soon. But aside from that, I don't have any other OneXPlayer updates, so let's move on over to AYN. For AYN, it was a little bit quieter, but I do have some news. The Loki Zero has now started shipping, and apparently they're going to be shipping out all orders very soon. For those that haven't been following this, the Loki Zero has been delayed numerous times, so this is great news for the backers that it's finally shipping out, and hopefully they get all the units out very soon. Aside from that, the community has mostly just been talking about the Odin 2 and how they're excited for that, so hopefully we'll get some more information on that soon, but I don't have any for today. And that's really all I've got for AYN, so let's move on to AYANEO. For AYANEO this week, we got an announcement for a new Android handheld model called the AYANEO Pocket S. They announced this device and its chipset at Gamescom, and it seems that it's going to be going for a more powerful chip in this model. They're going to be going with the Snapdragon G3X Gen 2. After the event, they also released a press article with more information about the device, and it seems that it's going to be coming sometime in December, and they're going to have a few configurations of the device. There's a light model, which is the one that you can see in the photos here. As well, they plan to release one with a larger battery, and apparently it'll have controller grips. We're going to have to wait for more information on this one, but it sounds like it's going to definitely be a strong Android handheld. But the question really on everyone's mind is, what's the price going to be? As of the time we're recording, AYANEO has not shared any of that information for the Pocket S or the previously announced Pocket Air. I'm going to guess we'll probably be getting more of this information sometime at the end of the month when they do their next AYANEO YouTube stream, which should be coming sometime before the end of August, and knowing my luck, it's probably going to go live just a couple hours before this video does. Aside from the AYANEO Pocket S, we're still waiting on more information for the AYANEO Kun and its price. My guess is that it's going to start probably around $1,300 USD for the base model and probably go up from there. Of course, this is just my guess and we're going to have to wait to see, but hopefully we'll learn more information at that YouTube stream that I was just talking about. And that's all I've got for AYANEO this week, so let's head over to GPD. For GPD, we have a couple quick things to cover today. First up is the Win Mini campaign, which isn't live yet, but the Indiegogo preview is up, and you can now sign up for email updates on when the campaign will go live. We also got some information that they're going to be adding a model with the 7840U and 64GB of RAM. Originally, this wasn't planned, but the community strongly requested it, and they decided to add the option. Let's take a quick look at the prices again. The prices are as listed here, but with the addition of the 2TB 64GB model for $1149, or it'll be $1178 if you decide to add on the optional grip attachment. So that's all I've got for the Win Mini updates. The only other update that I have for GPD is that the Win 4 should be shipping fairly soon. It's supposed to come out sometime in September. And sometime near the end of September, early October, I should be getting my Win 4 7840, so at that point I'll start to do some more content, so stay tuned for that. And that's all I've got for GPD this week, and that's also going to wrap up this week's recap, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.